beautifully remodeled Portland Airport, PDX. We've spent the last few weeks here in Oregon visiting family and preparing to go abroad.
And the big day has arrived.
Next stop,
Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Okay. Zona! Zona!
ceviche.
It's day 3 and the Fiestas Guadalupanas is over.
That's right. Even though there are no more bells and fireworks and bands playing all the time, what we've noticed is the streets are now reopened, so there's a lot more car noise. Well, there's a few bells. What are we doing today, Jen?
We're hiking up to the Cerro de la Cruz to see the view.
All right, let's get going. We have started our ascent up the hill, and in this backyard are 3 equine. They are not donkeys. We're trying to figure out if they're mules or horses. If you're an expert, leave a comment and tell us what we're looking at here.
I think they're mules.
I think they're horses. And that's where we're headed, up to that viewing tower. This main staircase has a track with stairs on both sides, but this looks like it was for a funicular, which is very reminiscent of Lisbon, Portugal. It's like it hasn't run in years. So we are taking the stairs.
You want to catch it? You go on the pier.
You're already down. Dedicate the song to my beautiful wife, Melissa, and to our good friends, Jenny and Craig. Plaza! When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see. In the sky that look upon should come the light fall of the mountains.
It's our last full day in the Puerto Vallarta area, and we have a day-long adventure. Where are we going, Jen?
We're going to Yelapa and Mahulita.
Should be fun. We're about to get on the boat and start the day.
Oh yeah, let's do it in a few hours. Happy birthday, dear Lucas. Happy birthday to you.
We're wrapping up our week in Puerto Vallarta, and we've had a great time.
Yeah, so now it's time to give our impressions, and we'll do a top 5 pros and cons. First of all, there's a wonderful atmosphere here. We met so many nice people, and I think the best way to judge a town is how are the people that aren't either trying to sell you something or serving you something. And everywhere we went, people were friendly. They say buenos dias, hola, and if we say it first, they would greet us back with a smile. So we really felt welcome here, beyond just the touristy stuff.
And also, the atmosphere is very safe feeling, as we saw many women walking around by themselves at all hours. And I felt safe. We felt safe wherever we went, no matter what time it was. Puerto Vallarta is very charming in the Centro, Zona Romantica, and Gringo Gulch areas, which is sort of the downtown area. There's a lot of beautiful architecture and art, and we just loved walking around and checking it out.
Yeah, and that nice charm and atmosphere also carried over to Sayulita and Miss Maloya, some of the outskirt towns that we visited.
The food is really good and really cheap compared to where we come from, Maui and the Bay Area. It's really affordable and just delicious.
That's right. Especially when we got away from the tourist zones like the Malecon and that sort of thing, the street food and the little stands. I lost track of how many tacos we had. These are just absolutely fabulous. The fish tacos, the shrimp tacos. It was taco heaven.
Tacos, so yummy.
For our friends in the LGBTQ plus community, it is a very accepting and friendly place.
Absolutely. It is definitely a gay enclave. And while that's not a community we're part of, it, I think, reflects an accepting society and it's important to us. We didn't go house hunting, but the little bit of research that we did on the real estate here, it seems like it's affordable. Now, that's coming from two people that just sold a home in Maui, so we're used to outrageous prices. But the areas that we would be most interested in, this Centro, Zona Romantica, Gringo Gulch, and some of the outside towns like Sayulita and Miss Maloya, and the area south of the town of Puerto Vallarta, all had homes that, compared to US prices, were very affordable. Now we're going to get to some of the negatives, the cons. The first one, it's a very touristy town. Now, that sounds kind of weird coming from the people that were spending a week here being tourists, but this is looking at this from a could we imagine ourselves living here? And while we have nothing against tourists, obviously we're tourists ourselves here, it does get a little heavy. It's hard to sit on the beach without people trying to sell you something. It's hard to walk down any street without people trying to sell you something. And the people that are getting off the cruise ships kind of create a busy, crowded atmosphere.
It's called Puerto Vallarta for a reason. Granted, we are staying in a very touristy area, but it is very noisy. There was a festival going on when we first arrived, and there was music and everything,
Church
fireworks,
bells,
church bells, all hours of the
bands
night.
playing.
And even after the festival was over, there's fireworks sometimes in the middle of the night, and people playing their music really loud, going down the street at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's just something to be aware of. Just so if you're thinking about living here, you just will have to get used to the noise.
Yeah, it doesn't match the quiet, sleepy vibe that kind of is in our ideal uh, place to live.
And if we go outside of town, maybe it won't be as bad, but in this area particularly, it's very noisy.
We mentioned before how charming the area is. Now, we spend most of our time in town, which is Centro and Zona Romantica. We visited Sayulita, Miss Maloya, and some of the other areas south of town. And we were specifically staying in the charming areas. The one issue is once you get out of those areas, that charm wears off quickly. And that creates a little bit of a bubble feeling when you're here. So we found that to be a little bit of a negative.
The beaches in town are not as nice as the beaches when you get outside of town. So we thought that was a little bit of a drawback because we like to be in a place where we can just walk to the beach, walk on the beach, swim. And that's not really what you find at the beaches in town.
Yeah, they just kind of go straight from hotels down to the beach. There aren't trees to sit under and just not as the atmosphere that's our ideal situation. While Centro and Zona Romantica are very walkable, everywhere else isn't. You need to get in a car to go places.
The transportation is a little bit challenging, and maybe it's because we don't speak Spanish, but we did take a bus out to Sayulita, and it was an experience.
A little janky, but
yeah, you can get around, but it's not as easy without a car.
there's one more thing that's both a pro and a con, and that's the weather.
Depending on your perspective, it can be really hot. We are here on December 17th. You see, I'm in a t shirt and I'm actually getting kind of warm right now. And we here in the summer, it's extremely hot. So it depends on your perspective, but that can be either a pro or a con.
Yeah, coming from Hawaii, obviously we're used to warm weather, but here the humidity is definitely higher. So we're not sure if this is the best weather for us. So now we get to the big question. Could we see ourselves living here in Puerto Vallarta?
Initially, the first couple of days, I would have said no, but as we experienced it more and got outside of town, it's a possibility. It's still on the list.
Yeah, it grew on us. Obviously, we have some cons that are pretty big. I think if we're looking for something where we have sort of the sleepy beach town atmosphere that suits us best, there might be other places, but maybe.
If you enjoyed this adventure, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more of our travel and wildlife videos.